You are tuning into the LEHI, Low Ego, High Impact Mindset podcast. I'm your host, Volkan Emre, along with a dynamic team of Kellogg School of Management alums. We are here on a shared mission to uncover the mindset that drives impact and success. On LEHI, we have thought-provoking conversations with incredibly successful entrepreneurs, business leaders, and investors from around the globe. We uncover the mindset that drives them, allowing them to make a high impact without losing themselves to ego. Now, let's get started with today's episode. Today, we are recording a very unique episode with Kostas Poulakidas in Bangalore, India, featuring two amazing female tech leaders. Joining us are Sonia Arora and Preetha Menon. Both have over 15 years of impactful tech leadership experience in the United States in diverse industries. Sonia and Preetha are classmates from the Kellogg School of Management's Executive MBA program. Sonia Arora is a seasoned technology leader in cloud and agile transformation, software development cycle, and process improvement. She is currently leading digital transformation projects at Blue Shield, California, to provide access to safe, high-quality, and affordable healthcare. Preetha Menon is an innovative business technology leader and a strategic product owner with experience in deep tech product development. Preetha is currently at AbbVie, where she is a leader in the delivery of innovative products to improve the lives of the patients.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Just as background for our audience, what brings us all together is we are all in India right now as part of a tech venture course through the Kellogg Executive Business Program. It's been an incredible almost 2 weeks now. I think we'd all agree. We've met with some incredible companies, and we've also seen, which is in large part the background for this podcast, just how much India has changed and potentially the impact that it will have on the world in terms of what we saw and what's coming out of this country. But before we get started, I was hoping that each of you could give some background on were you born here in India and your journey to the United States and to where you are today.
And let's start with Preetha.
Thank you for having us here. I was born in South India, the southernmost part in Tamil Nadu, Coimbatore. I'm basically from Kerala, which is God's own country. But my parents migrated when they were kids to Coimbatore. And from a very young age, I think me and my sister, we had two daughters. And I think one of the core values has been like be humble and do the best to get the best education possible. I think even though my parents didn't do beyond high school, they both made sure that we were able to get the best possible education. And as I'm looking at Tech Venture, the program as part of the experience that we came in, and looking at all the women out there, the entrepreneurs, the startup world that they've been in, the success that they've had, it makes me very proud of being part of like the program, plus also being able to see from where India has gone from 20 years back to now. The explosion of technology and the amount of Indian entrepreneurs, especially women, is mind-blowing. For me, as a kid, my thought process was, okay, I want to learn. I wanted to make sure that I respect my parents and do the best I could because they had made a lot of sacrifices for us. And that was the one thing that was top of mind for me. And I'm the first generation in my family to come to the United States to pursue a master's degree. So even now, it's me and my husband and my family that's in the United States. All my other family members are in India. When it came to the US first, I think my thought process was, okay, let me do my master's in electrical engineering. then see how things go, right? I didn't have a big long-term plan. I came and did my master's, and I started a technology role in Motorola. Even in the United States, what I could see is in STEM programs, women are few, a handful of people. I had one other female with me in my group, and it's just the two of us. Everybody else, it's a male-dominated world out there, even in a technology firm like product development. So I slowly started shifting towards technology, IT particularly, because that's where I saw my passion being. I could be able to do more business relationship management, be able to understand. I think soft skills is where I was focusing on. And as part of this program, what I've understood is that you have to be patient. You have to make sure that you are able to grab opportunities even if it comes on the left side. They may not look like those are the opportunities you want to pursue, but for women especially, they have to keep proving themselves a lot just to make sure that they're able to get a seat at the table. And overall, I would say that make sure that look out for opportunities. They may not have a big door open for you. It might be a tiny window. You have to be ready to grab those opportunities when they come to you.
And opportunities are rare, as you indicated. Thanks very much, Preetha, for sharing. It's really great to hear your background and your achievements and your journey, simply. Thank you very much for sharing. How about you, Sonia? Would you mind sharing your background, where you were born in India and your journey to the US, and where you are today?
Hi, thank you for having us here. This is exciting. And just to bring up to speed how I came to US, very similar. I did not come here as for education. I was already working in India in NIT at that time, a premier IT institute, and I was in the training side of the thing and managing centers over there. NIT was a big institution back home. I am a single child, so it was hard for my parents to send me off. But I was already married. So the challenge part that I had was I already had a kid, and I had a 2.5-year-old. I got a H1. This was 1999 when Y2K was a big thing in US, and I had to leave my daughter back home because there was that was a struggle. But so be it.
How old was she?
She was 2.5-year-old.
Wow.
But I had my support of my mom, who was able to keep her. So I was here in US for 9 months without my family. It was interesting times. When I landed here, the consultants were not able to get me a job, and then I had to switch firms. But things have moved on. It's been 25 years, and I have been in various firms doing various technology positions. US is a land of opportunities. So it has been a great run. And coming to India, you see now India is a land of opportunities. So, yeah.
That's actually a good way of putting it from what we've seen. Preetha talked about the sacrifices that were made. But Sonia, earlier when we were traveling, we were talking about our families, and you were talking about your children and some of the things that they're about to do, some of the successes, college, some incredible things that you're a little bit further ahead in terms of the age of your kids than mine. And I would love for my kids to end up in your children's shoes. That being said, do you think the sacrifices that you made, that you just got done talking about, were worth it now?
Yeah, definitely. At times you put your family first, you put yourself first. When I moved from India to US, there were many, I would say, culture shock in some sense. I had moved from Delhi. I was a single child. My mom is very conservative, possessive, and should I say, I shouldn't say possessive, protective parent who would not let me move anywhere. I had never even gone to a hostel to live out of my home. So it was work, home. That was my periphery of living. And I landed in U.S. So it was like, haven't traveled in India, but have landed a far away place. And for them, since I was the only child, it was, you being protective, and now you're going to 5,000 plus miles away. And that time we did not have video chats. We did not have, it was all phones, and you have a small child, you have a protective mom. So it was a struggle, but it was worth it. There were many, many anecdotes I can share, but in the interest of time, I'll say that it's been a great run.
That's great.
How about you, Preetha?
So, my parents' sacrifice, what I was saying earlier, right? I think that was more of a motivation for me to do well. But I would have to give a lot of credit to people I've met in all walks of life, right? Since I came to the US, 3 years I did my master's in South Florida. I met a lot of professors that really were warm and really helped us understand the experiences of what does good look like, right? And what are the things that you should do to be successful. So that helped. And then all the friends that we had, they were more like family. So even though we all left our families back in India, they were almost like second family to us. So it didn't make us feel like we were alone. It was almost like a community looking out for each other. And after that, I moved to the Chicago area to pursue my first job in Motorola Solutions. It was in RF and microwave engineering. It was like high tech, and a lot of people influenced the way I look at things. Process oriented, continuous improvement. I have a Six Sigma green belt, and I use those continuous process learnings that I've had, right? Like each stumbling block you see, and each step you take, I think it resonates with you. Those are things that cannot be taken away from us. I think we refine those experiences. The story gets recreated in our mind, right? Our life stories. So I feel like many of those stumbling blocks, in a way, have been challenges that have helped move me closer towards a much bigger goal. Right now, the Tech Venture program, I would say, has been very experiential, meeting a lot of great people, and all their experiences have further enriched what I've learned in the program so far. I've never thought of myself as an entrepreneur, but I'm thinking I should pursue it.
Sure. And you definitely get the bug while you're over here.
Yeah.
You mentioned all the people that we've met here collectively in this collective experience. One of the people that we were, fortunate to spend some time with was Upasana Taku, the founder of the Indian unicorn MobileQuick.
Mm-hmm.
She's one of Forbes' top 25 most influential business women, which is incredibly impressive. In an industry that's male dominated, male saturated, but also in a country that is very male oriented. Meeting her was impressive, but and this is also an observation I made. I want to see if you share this observation. But in many of the startups that we visited, you saw the young people that were working there. Just, a sea of people working at these startups. And I would think roughly half, easily half, maybe more at some places, were young women.
True.
As an Indian, as a woman, how does it make you feel? What thoughts do you have on what the world might look like in 20 years?
Well, it's exciting. It's definitely a very exciting world right there, and emerging markets definitely have a lot of opportunities. India has grown with education. We met the minister the other day, and it was eye-opening to see the JAM version, which is Janadhan, Aadhaar, and mobile, that India has exponentially invested in. It was something that we had heard from back home, which is US now. And coming here, the sheer numbers and every startup that we go, India does provide an opportunity of large scales. So, and the sheer numbers that we see, how people have used that opportunity and used the government's support, and also tells you how infrastructure just grows a country and how strong political environments just enable every sphere of life. And of course, like you mentioned, females, education in India with female, though literacy has improved, there has been a disparity with women, but still whatever I see is women have been smart enough to take all those opportunities whenever they are, like Preetha said, a bleak of window shows up and they take it up. And this is not just in very educated people. We also saw one of the panelists where she was using even the tribal people. So when you see those kind of exponential growth and you see it reaching the mass, and of course we saw the geo effect with the mobile reaching way inside. And when we saw MediBuddy, which is again another version of how telemed has been just exponentially reaching millions of people, that is a wow moment. That's an aha moment of our tech venture. And we see that in a very different perspective and say that, wow, people are really growing. And it as an Indian, it is a moment of pride. It is a moment of, let's see where the country goes. And we just keep our fingers crossed that everything just moves in the right direction. The political environment is perfect right now. And also, like you said, youngsters have taken, the reign. There was a time in India when they used to say there's a brain drain. All the IIT professionals would go out. But now we saw all the startups, literally every one of them are from the highest education here because the country has provided the opportunity. So it's just amazing that it's not just it's females are definitely taking it, but it's everywhere, and entrepreneurship is the way to go in India. The biggest challenge when we talked to the minister, the biggest challenge is the number of educated people that are coming out of the country every single year. So providing employment is one biggest challenge. So it was an interesting perspective to hear that countries this side, so many new people coming out, whether it is 35-year-old or 25-year-old. And the only way you can provide such large scale of employment is through entrepreneurship.
And just to give context to our audience, India is a country of 1.42 billion people. But what's even more staggering, in my opinion, isn't the sheer size, is that roughly 60% of the country is under the age of 35.
Right.
I think when it comes to ecospheres, entrepreneurship, growth, that factor might be the most important factor. There's a lot of things that go into an ecosystem: government support, the infrastructure, the transparency, a lot of things. But to have that kind of an engine, a highly educated engine, a highly motivated engine at that age, I'm really curious to see how fast.
So another thing that the minister did mention, and it was that there's a lot of emphasis which has gone on providing vocational training to people. So young people coming out of the colleges should not be looking at a second post degree. They should be capable to get a job or do entrepreneurship, because that's the way the country has to go. There is no way you can provide corporate jobs. So tech venture is a very, it's something which is very interesting and very appropriate at this time. And probably that's why we see zillions of ventures coming up. And India has been a mom and pop shop, small shop. People have been very entrepreneur. There's MNCs have only come recently to this country, but small companies, SMBs, were always there. And education is enabling it, which is the right way to go.
I want to add, thank you, Sonia. I want to add two more statistical points to this discussion. Actually, 50% of the country's population is aged 25 and under. I want to ask, what would be your advice for the young women tech professionals in India for their future? So, would it be possible for you to give them one advice?
Yeah, so since 1980, right, we've had women, some women in even big roles, like a Prime Minister of India. Indira Gandhi was Prime Minister of India in 1980. But then not everybody has had the opportunity to get the education and be able to put themselves in a spot where they could reach their potential. The one thing I would ask for Indian women to do is, we always put others before ourselves. Self-love is important, making sure that they're able to have the confidence, right, and be able to pursue their dreams. I think that's important. There are so many, there's going to be 1,000 challenges. There's going to be people that are going to say you can do it or you shouldn't do it. But then if you have the self-love and the confidence, you would be able to push back on those roadblocks and keep moving forward.
The other thing I would like to say is that education these days has been on phones. It has come to the grassroots. So having moms promoting their daughters, and sometimes we find females are the worst. They are the first culprits for themselves. Only they contain. There was a very interesting documentary essay which said that we teach girls to adjust that's how we have been trained in India. Adjust all our lives, which means that the moment you say adjust, that means you constrain. You mean you restrict. You mean you don't grow. It is, instead of adjust, the statement has to grow. So I think that is important from even as a culture. It has been norm in India. I don't know how it is in other societies much, but definitely in India, always the environment is the girl has to adjust, whether it is in her married life or is it in work so it's not just. It's a culture shift that we need to say and not constrain the females. And 50% of the population is female. So if you constrain them, then you're constraining the whole society.
Yeah, and in the next 20 years, right, I think it's not just the women themselves, but the socio-economic environment has to move towards gender equality in pay, right? I mean, there are 50% of the women that are working now, but there are still women that are staying home because they have to take care of their young kids. I think big corporates and even startups should look at how do we give more flexible work environment for women that can take care of family but still be able to work. And also the pay, right, in terms of gender equality, in terms of pay, that's one thing that in the next 20 years I don't think that would ever be a challenge. I'm hoping when my daughter is working, or if she wants to come to India and work, she doesn't have to face some of the challenges that we faced. I think that's where all the women in India probably should be thinking about how do we leave this place better for our daughters, right, to grow and flourish.
Sonia Arora and Preetha Menon, thank you very much for being with us today.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. And it's from Vulcan, Vulcan is the father of a young daughter. I have, as we talked earlier, I have 3 myself. And, it's really impactful for a father to see kind of some of the things we saw here in India. And, makes a father's job a little bit easier when we know that there's women like you who are making our jobs easier for their future. So thank you.
Thank you for having us here.
Have a good day. Thank you.
thank you for diving deep with us on another episode of LEHI, Low Ego, High Impact Mindset. Join us every week as we discover the stories, strategies, and insights that will empower you to grow personally and professionally. Stay inspired and catch you in the next one.